poised. Although the appreciation potential of silver is also constrained to 45,800 to maybe 46,400 on the upside.
Okay, watch out for those levels then in the Indian and the international markets. But Shiv, how would you look at the energy space now? Because that really seems to be quite choppy. Markets are awaiting the US inventory data at this point in time. But having said that, the kind of very high volatile moves that we have seen in this week, how would you want to plan your strategy?
Yeah, we have seen a smart dropout in a steady as the Libya production starts. I think the crude will be moved to today upward because as per inventory expectation, it will go down up to 2.2 million. I think some bounce back expected in today's session. It will go up to 6,000.
Vijay, how would you look at the crude oil prices now? Because on a weekly chart, we are looking at a 5% decline. Is it too much of a fall, too soon? Do you think there's some bargain buying coming in?
Bargain buying remains a possibility, Manisha, provided you get crude at 5,920 odd levels. That's where I would feel comfortable taking a punt. Now, even though it relatively appears a bargain kind of a situation for higher risk short-term traders, the probability of 5,880 should not be ruled out. So if you are initiating a long position at lower levels, one has to be prepared for a few false moves before prices really stabilize or even rise. So buy the dips rather than chase the prices at the current level.
Fair point. Shiv, also, how would you look at the base metal prices then? Because the last couple of weeks really have been positive. The fundamentals also have worked, and we have seen a huge turnaround for the month of December as well for most of these metal prices. Would you now then be cautious into buying into them? Because more or less, we are looking at some choppiness coming back here.
Yeah, I'm not very much bullish on the base metals. As we have seen, China data is not encouraging, and I think copper and lead will be the most sufferer in coming days. I think copper and lead will be down in 1 to 2% in coming days.
Vijay, which one would you want to choose on in case of the base metal space, and how are you reacting to the next week's trade numbers now?
Manisha, throughout last week, I've maintained that the hedge funds, who are the largest players in the commodities market, could have been responsible for perking up prices in the industrial metals due to the end of the year considerations. If at all I was to put a finger on a commodity to trade in the industrial metals space, I would favor nickel, although at 868 levels, I'm not comfortable buying. I would give it another 25 to 30 rupees decline before comfort comes back in. And at that level, I don't really mind initiating a few small-sized long positions.
Okay, there's no clear-cut view on coming in for the base metal prices, and clearly not a buying call coming in from our experts as well. But with that, let's go for another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the ICEX, the fourth national commodity exchange, which wraps up its business and says will not launch any new contracts and let the running contracts expire on due dates.
Krishnan has always been very vocal about macroeconomic issues, about political issues, but now we've learned that he has become a member of the Aam Aadmi Party.
I think the whole situation today is really about cleaning up the political system.
I will also be helping Aam Aadmi Party, being a member. I don't know what kind of role I will play. It's too early for me.
When corporates become change agents, get the news exclusively on ET Now. "90 minutes is greater than 24 hours. An hour and a half of the news hour gets more viewership than 24 hours on other English news channels. India's appointment hour, the news hour with Arnab Goswami.
We made the bike. You made it the bike of the year. Thank you. It's going to be me. Mahindra Centuro.
Mahindra Transport Excellence Awards, honoring the individuals who've steered the transport sector into a new direction, the Rise Way. Get an overview of the definitive awards, its elaborate adjudication process, and find out how the awards changed lives of the overlooked service providers to the transport industry. Mahindra Transport Excellence Awards. Only on ET Now.
Welcome back, and the news on exchanges. Then the commodity exchange ICEX is shutting business on the back of steep losses that they have been reporting for the previous quarter and the much of last year as well. The exchange has said it will not launch any new contracts and it will see the running contracts expire on due dates. ICEX, remember, is India's fourth largest commodity exchange, and you have had a lot of big names holding stakes into that. One of them, of course, being India Bulls, RIL, Potash as well, who have been holding big stakes into that exchange, but that is clearly going to shut shop soon. Let's get on board then. Chong Seng, he's CEO, Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Berhad, and he joins us on the show to talk about how the commodity trading in India and abroad is going to pick up in sense of especially the agro space. Chong, hi, welcome to the show. How do you see agri trades panning out for the year 2014, especially in the global markets?
I think it continues to be a very exciting sector. I think it's going to be quite volatile. I think experts are saying that the supply and demand situation is still very unclear, and especially in the space of palm oil, for example, the demand from the biodiesel sector seems to be on the increase, and a lot of things are going to happen in 2014. I believe that it's going to be a very volatile year, and risks will be there, and businesses should take heed to manage those price risks.
Chong, how do you see the commodity markets, trade out in this year, especially when you look at the kind of numbers that we have seen, the kind of policies that seem to be coming, not just in India, but around the world?
I think national markets, once they go to a certain stage, becomes regional markets, and then they have every chance to become what we call a global market. So I think that's what I can see in India. There's a potential for a lot of growth.
When it comes about the trading volumes, where do you see that coming in maximum from? Is it India? Is it from the Asian markets for that matter? Or it's the developed market which still have more money spinning on in these trades?
For us, over 40% of our trades comes from foreign participants and foreign institutions. So we have a pretty good sense, let's say 40% from foreign, 60% from our local trade. So it is important that this level of composition of both domestic and foreign trades keeps on growing.
Also, how do you see the participation in India and Indian participation abroad? Do you see that growing? I mean, the way the commodity prices, the commodity supplies are increasing, do you see more hope in that?
I think from India, a lot of the Indian companies who are located outside of India are already participating in our market and also in the Chicago markets. So I think the expertise actually is already there. Then, of course, you're talking about whether the domestic industry and domestic participation can be a lot better. Sure, they all can be a lot better. But I'm saying that I want to say that the expertise is already inside Indian companies. The only thing is to take it forward and take it to grow it even more. That's how I see India in 2014. I'm sure, again, I've said before, participation in India and from India will increase in 2014.
All right, I appreciate you joining us then, Chong. That's the view coming in from Bursa Malaysia Derivatives. They are expecting the volumes to go higher, and they expect a lot coming in from India in sense of volume, participation and prices as well in 2014. Well, that's about the volume, but how about the prices? And Vijay, how are you looking at the chana prices now? Because this year has started positive for that.
Manisha, I remain optimistic on chana, and I think that any decline below the 3,000 mark in the mid and farm month series would be an invitation to buy. And I think come end of March or maybe even April, and you will see chana prices edge higher. My target for appreciation in chana is approximately 10% in the next 4 months, whereas the downside potential is approximately 5%, if at all. So the risk-reward ratio seems to indicate that you should be buying the dips in chana.
All right, a clear bullish call coming on for that one. Shiv, which one are you picking? Where could you give a bullish call in coming couple of months then?
Yeah, I'm also bet on chana because I think that it will go up to 3,200 to 3,250 in Feb.
Shiv, also what your sense coming in for the edible oil space now? What kind of trades would you want to execute there?
I think soybean will go up in coming days, and I think it will 100 to 150 rupees bounce back expected till Feb.
Vijay, what's your sense on potato prices then? Because that is something that also has been running up.
Manisha, I'm bullish on potatoes, and I think you will see potato prices in the April month futures, which are quoting at a slight discount to March, head higher than the 1,000 mark. So here again, I would be a keen buyer on potatoes in the April month futures, which is the second month future. It's currently at 971. If you see prices of sub 960, I think it's a buy.
Okay, so we have all bullish calls coming in for the agro space. But with that, Shiv and Vijay, thank you so much for joining us with your strategies. And that's all the time that we have on Hot Commodities. But stay tuned for Rush Hour coming up next.
Krishnan has always been very vocal about macroeconomic issues, about political issues, but now we've learned that he has become a member of the Aam Aadmi Party.
I think the whole situation today is really about cleaning up the political system.
I will also be helping Aam Aadmi Party, being a member. I don't know what kind of role I will play. It's too early for me.
When corporates become change agents, get the news exclusively on ET Now.
We just want to believe that India is an exceptional economy and it can defy all laws of global macro. And we'll have great growth with no inflation, perfect employment, great employment generation, great capex boom, without adjusting for the fact that, guys, we are in a terrible global macro situation.
Catch Outlook 2014 with Shankar Sharma only on ET Now.
Because of the volatility of the rupee, that creates a problem. But if rupee depreciates, it's always good news for IT companies because your revenue count is on dollar terms. So that is an advantage for us as well as for the industry.
Catch Upinder Zutshi discuss the impact of a falling rupee on Tea Time only on ET Now.
The broader picture is much more important than the line-by-line analysis. See, we invest in a future, the future is uncertain. India has raised its base level of growth in every decade. And this is the situation where India is unfriendly, India is corrupt. I would argue that despite all these problems, we are growing somewhere. So when I tend to think that glass is half full rather than half empty. I cannot say 100% that we will surely have a bull market in 2014. It will depend on events play out. But I'm optimistic.
Catch 2014. Big Bulls, Big Bets. A Rakesh Jhunjhunwala exclusive. Only on ET Now.
With 17.6 lakh gross TVTs, ET Now's viewership is higher than all other business news channels put together. For the best coverage on markets, business and economy, stay tuned to ET Now, India's #1 business news channel. How can CEOs take their strategic and management leadership to greater success in a challenging economic environment? Wave presents Business Today Mind Rush 2013.
This century will definitely belong to those who will create opportunities to lead India to its rightful place.
A conclave engaging business strategists with global thought leaders to stimulate holistic leadership. Only on ET Now.
Try the new, rich, creamy and chocolatey, crunchy frappe at Cafe Coffee Day. First run of the year, the Lavasa Hill Run. Register now on lavasahillrun.com. Be on your marks on January 5th, 2014.
The broader picture is much more important than the line-by-line analysis. See, we invest in a future, the future is uncertain. India has raised its base level of growth in every decade. And this is the situation where India is unfriendly, India is corrupt. I would argue that despite all these problems, we are growing somewhere. So when I tend to think that glass is half full rather than half empty. I cannot say 100% that we will surely have a bull market in 2014. It will depend on events play out. But I'm optimistic.
Catch 2014. Big Bulls, Big Bets. A Rakesh Jhunjhunwala exclusive. Only on ET Now.
End of Manmohan era in Indian politics. The Prime Minister says he's not in the race for the PM's post if UPA comes to power after the general election.